Jackson never imagined how small gestures could change his life. Living in Seattle, he worked as a nurse and maintained an exhausting routine. His days were filled with patient care, leaving little time for himself. Gradually, he noticed the impact of fatigue on his mental health. He decided to implement a simple habit, meditating for 5 minutes every morning. Quickly, he noticed changes in his mood and disposition, feeling more centered and calm. Jackson shared his discovery with friends, who also began adopting the small ritual. After a few weeks, Jackson realized that this small change had created a ripple effect. Not only did his perspective improve, but so did his energy to face daily challenges. His colleagues noticed his newfound vigor and began asking about his secret. Inspired, Jackson started a blog about his experiences, combining practical tips with reflections on well-being. His words reached many people looking to transform their own routines and find more meaning in daily life. The growing audience for his blog motivated Jackson to expand his ideas, bringing his experiences to video platforms. The positive feedback not only encouraged him, but also fueled his passion for sharing wellness stories. He realized that his journey was not just personal, but a shared experience. Through this, Jackson connected with countless others, creating a community of individuals eager for Jackson had always been drawn to adventures, but nothing prepared him for what he would find in that isolated cave. Located on the outskirts of California, the cave was rumored to be mysterious, and many claimed it was haunted. Jackson, a photographer seeking intense thrills, decided to explore the location with his camera. As he delved deeper into the darkness, the air grew dense, and an inexplicable chill ran down his spine. He tried to ignore the stories of disappearances, focusing on the incredible images he might capture. The flashlight trembled in his hand as Jackson stumbled upon something resembling a groove in the floor. As he illuminated the spot, he noticed a series of ancient inscriptions on the cave walls. His curiosity grew, but a part of his mind warned him of imminent danger. Determined to press on, he continued his path, yet with an increasing sense that he was being watched. The echoes of his footsteps returned like mysterious whispers, almost as if the cave were alive. Suddenly, a sharp noise broke the silence, and Jackson quickly turned, focusing his flashlight behind him. Nothing was in sight, but he couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't alone. This perception led him to a fork in the path, where he recalled the locals' warning: never choose the left path. His stubbornness, however, was stronger than his superstitions, so he ventured left, unaware that this decision would change everything. As darkness enveloped him, he couldn't imagine the horrors that awaited. As Jackson advanced down the left tunnel, the cave seemed to close in around him. The walls narrowed, making it difficult to breathe. Shadows danced around him, forming figures that tested his sanity. The sound of dripping water echoed like a sinister clock, marking each step toward the unknown. Jackson found himself battling a growing fear, trying to recall his passion for discoveries to stay grounded. Then he heard light whispers, like voices from another world. He stopped abruptly, trying to decipher that disturbing sound. It seemed almost like an invitation, or perhaps a warning. Hesitant, he considered turning back, but curiosity pushed him forward. The path he chose grew steeper, and he wondered how many chances he'd have if he decided to retreat. With determination, he gripped the flashlight tightly and continued, hopeful that the exit was just ahead. Eventually, he arrived in a wide chamber where a faint glow emanated from crystals on the walls. The light revealed ancient objects scattered across the floor, remnants of past adventures. This new setting was more threatening due to the absolute silence. As he inspected the area, Jackson noticed the inscriptions on the wall reflected stories of adventurers who came before him, many of whom never returned. It was then he felt something cold touch his neck, and before he could react, darkness engulfed him completely. When Jackson regained consciousness, he found himself surrounded by shadows that seemed to take shape. His flashlight had fallen, its weak light illuminating only uncertain angles of the cave. The sense of imminent danger compelled him to move quickly. As he groped around, his fingers touched something that seemed to be an old excavation tool, a remnant left by a past explorer. With a newfound sense of urgency, he grasped the tool, determined to find a way out. The voices intensified, engulfing him in a frantic chorus that only he could hear. Memories of his life outside flashed through his mind as he struggled to stay focused on the path ahead. Each step was an act of resistance against the fear threatening to overwhelm him. He He knew that to escape, he had to follow his intuition, even if each choice seemed riskier than the last. The cave, with its ancient secrets, seemed to test him at every turn. Eventually, Jackson's determination led him to a narrow tunnel, almost hidden by shadows. He squeezed between the rocks, feeling adrenaline course through him as he fought to keep his concentration. As he progressed, a gentle breeze began to blow through the crevices, hinting that freedom was near. With renewed hope, he moved faster, driven by the promise of light beyond the suffocating darkness. Finally, Jackson emerged from the darkness into the faint morning light. Upon finding the cave's exit, the fresh air revitalized his senses, and the view of the vast forest brought an indescribable sense of relief. Despite the fear and trials, he had conquered the journey, emerging stronger. The perspective gained in the cave transformed him, and he knew these experiences would stay with him forever. Back in civilization, Jackson shared his story with friends and the community. He described the inexplicable sensations, the mysterious voices, and the challenges he faced. His adventure in the cave was not just a physical exploration, but an internal journey. People gathered to listen, fascinated and motivated by his tale. Jackson's story became a local legend, inspiring others to face their fears. Reflecting on his experience, Jackson realized the cave wasn't just a terrifying place, but also a portal of self-discovery. With renewed determination, he prepared for new adventures, eager to explore the unknown. The courage he found within himself was now part of his essence, guiding every new step on his journey through life, where terror had turned into inspiration. Jackson now walked through life with unshakable confidence, always remembering the cave that transformed terror into revelation. The experience prepared him to face any challenge, knowing that true courage comes from within. The lessons learned were not just about survival, but about the strength of spirit and resilience. He became an inspiration for those around him, showing that even in the darkest situations, there is always a light to be discovered. With each step, Jackson continued to embrace adventure and the wonder of the unknown. His story spread, encouraging others to explore both internal and external frontiers. The scars from the cave were transformed into medals of honor, reminders of his ability to confront fear and emerge victorious. He taught that the greatest battles are fought in the mind, and overcoming these barriers is the greatest victory of all. And so, Jackson moved on to his next chapter, guided by the cave's lessons. The darkness that once surrounded him now served as a reminder that difficult moments can lead to surprising discoveries. For him, each day promised new opportunities, filled with the excitement of knowing there is always more to explore. With a heart full of hope, he continued his journey, confident that his indomitable spirit would lead him wherever he wished.